Welcome back to the Creative Collision Podcast. This is Saeed here, bringing you a new episode. This episode is strictly going to be a sports one, all sports topics. A lot going on in the world of sports since my last podcast. So I'm going to get into three of the major sports, of course, NBA, NFL, and MLB. I'm recording this on the 1-year anniversary of Kobe's tragic passing. So I am going to talk about, honor him and talk about a little bit about, my memories and just pay respects and just talk about, just remembering Kobe for a little bit. It's crazy. Still seems so unreal. Still hard to believe. So just honoring him and also his daughter Gianna and the 7 others that were on that helicopter crash that tragic day. So I'll be towards the end of the podcast. I'll start with the NBA. I'll kick it off there. Then I'll talk about NFL. Now we have our Super Bowl matchup, and just do my thoughts on that so far, and also the championship games from this past Sunday. And then I'll finish with some baseball. We also had some recent deaths in baseball that I want to talk about a little bit. Hank Aaron was a big one. That one got to me. Hank Aaron's passing, and also another Dodger legend, Tommy Lasorda, which I know it's been a few weeks now, but there's been a lot of Hall of Famers recently that have passed away in baseball. So just want to give a little bit of my thoughts on that. Don Sutton, another Dodger legend, also. So that'll be towards the end. I'm gonna start it off with baseball. I'll start it off with NBA. And first thing I want to talk about is the Brooklyn Nets. So I haven't talked about the James Harden trade on the podcast yet since my last one. So just give you my thoughts on what I've seen so far from the Nets. Now they can't defend anybody. That's the biggest takeaway, and you knew that was going to be the problem as soon as that trade was made. But you totally understand why that trade had to be made. Anytime a historically great player is available in his prime, and they want to go to your team, you have to pull the trigger on that. You got to take that chance if you're looking to try to win a championship. You try to fill in the holes later, but anytime that talent's available, you got to make that trade. So you totally understand why they did it. They gave up a lot of size, and the biggest one was trading Jared Allen. Caris LeVert was part of that trade, and good thing for him because that trade possibly could have saved his life. And he had some good news today. He got a successful surgery to treat his kidney cancer that he had, or at least was in possible development. It was renal cell surgery on his left kidney. I'm trying to get the right pronunciation here. But that's a blessing for him in disguise that he got traded, because it possibly could have saved his life. So he good for him. He's expected to make a full recovery. But yeah, so he was part of it. He ended up going to Indiana. Jared Allen went to Houston. Jared Allen went to Cleveland, and Oladipo went to Houston, and also Caris LeVert went to Indiana. Yeah, so big losses, but again, you understand why the Nets made that trade. They're gonna score a lot of points. Kyrie's a big question mark, but I think their talent's good enough to get to the NBA Finals. I just don't see how they're gonna beat the Lakers in a 7-game series, because they have no answer for AD. LeBron, of course, nobody ever has an answer for LeBron. They got more they can throw at LeBron, but you can put Kevin Durant on LeBron and try to slow him down a little bit. But AD, DeAndre Jordan is now their main front court defender, and he's nowhere near the guy he used to be with the Clippers. So they need to find another big, or else they're not going to win. I don't think they can win with the way the roster is currently constructed. You're just they're allowing 140 points to Cleveland. And Cleveland was the worst offensive team in the league. So unless they add another big, there's rumors that they are looking at JaVale McGee, trading for JaVale McGee. So that will help. Still don't think it's enough. They need another kind of a PJ Tucker type of player, a guy that's gonna. They need another big, so JaVale McGee will help. But they also need another wing defender, and if they don't get both of those, I don't think they have enough to win. Especially in the playoffs when the game slows down, and it becomes more of a half court game. Their half court offense, they're still trying to figure that out with the three superstars that they have, and their defense. Defense is cliche, but it still wins championships. If you're gonna be a all-time great offensive team, like they have the ability to be, you gotta at least be average on defense to win a championship. I can't think of a team that's ever been bad at defense to win a championship. There's been teams that are average on defense and won championships because they had such an overpowering offense. But to be bad at, to be absolutely one of the worst in the league at defense and win, I don't care how much talent you have on the offensive end, it's not going to get it done. So, but I do think just because Kevin Durant is playing he's playing arguably the best basketball of his career, and Kevin Durant is the best player in the East, so I think that's enough to get to the finals. Just Durant, Harden, and Kyrie, because I'm not sold on the Bucks. I still don't think they have what it takes to win, especially in the fourth quarter, because Giannis, you can't trust Giannis to get you a shot, to get you a bucket when he needs to, and that's going to be a problem still come playoff time. So that's still the Bucks' weakness, closing games and getting that big bucket down the stretch. I don't see how they're going to do that. The Sixers, I think, pose the biggest threat to the Nets. Again, kind of the same thing with the Lakers, and the Nets have no answer for AD. The Sixers, the Nets wouldn't have no answers for Embiid, and Embiid can take over a series. He has the potential to do that. He hasn't done it yet, but the way he's been playing this year, he might be their early favorite for MVP. So Embiid definitely will be a problem for the Nets. So I just don't know if the supporting cast will be enough to beat them. But that's the one team I think has the best chance of beating the Nets in the playoffs. Celtics, I'm not sold on. I think they're missing. I feel like they're missing another player. Their bench isn't that good, and they do have, with Jaylen Brown and Tatum now, they got a pretty good 1-2 punch, but I don't think the supporting cast is enough still. Then the rest of the East is, the Pacers are good, but they don't have the superstars to get to the finals, I don't believe. And then at that point, after that, there's not really anybody else worth talking about that's going to pose a threat. So that's my thoughts so far. Nets, good enough to get to the finals, but definitely not good enough to win the championship and beat the Lakers. And that's what it's all about. So that's my early thoughts on the Nets. It's fun to watch, though. It's definitely fun to watch, and and seeing how they're gonna figure this out. A lot of it, of course, depends on Kyrie and how focused he is on basketball too. So, we'll see about that. We'll see how it goes. Not much to talk about in the West. I mean, the Lakers are still doing their thing. They're just, playing along and winning games and making it look easy, man. They have that switch where they can just blow out any team whenever they want. It seems like LeBron is still LeBron. Doesn't look like he's slowing down at age 36. AD is not even really playing that good yet. He's kind of just going through the motions. It seems like AD is just not really. He hasn't turned it up yet. He hasn't took his game to that next level yet, and the Lakers are still just rolling teams. So that's the scary part. AD still hasn't really got it going, and the Lakers are still making it look that easy. And mostly just because the supporting cast is better than last year. With Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell, people thought their defense would suffer with the losses that they have, but it really hasn't. Their defense is just as good as it was last year, and they're just better on offense. So they're a better version of the team they had last year, and that's scary for the league. So. There's nobody in the West that can really threaten the Lakers. I know the Clippers are looking good right now, but still don't trust Paul George in a playoff series, especially against the Lakers. So I mean, I think the Lakers and Clippers are both 13-4, have the best record in the West right now. I think they have the same record. Maybe the Clippers have one more loss, but either way, I think this is how the West is breaking down right now. It's the Lakers, huge gap, then the Clippers, huge gap, then everybody else. So I think the Lakers are clear away the best team. I think the Clippers are clearly the second best team right now. And then after that, it's kind of up in the air. I would say the Jazz is probably the third best team right now. They're playing well, but I don't know. I still don't know if they have enough. A lot of it is they're just playing really well as a team, but it's still one superstar, So with Donovan Mitchell, and then the Nuggets are off to a pretty slow start, at least for them. They're like a 500 team. Expect them to be better. If they're playing at their best, they potentially could be the second best team. But right now, they're kind of, they're trying to figure it out a little bit. Jamal Murray hasn't took that next step. And Jokic is playing out of his mind, but they're definitely not nowhere near what at their best yet. So just my thoughts so far. The update: Lakers still the best. I just want to mostly talk about the Nets so far and what I think so far of that trade, but it's been fun. I think a lot of the season started getting into place. Of course, a lot of people missing games with COVID protocol and things like that. But as the season goes along, I think we'll start to see the best teams kind of rise to the top. So that's my thoughts so far on that. And we'll move it on to the NFL and preview the Super Bowl, as well as talking about these past championship games. So a Super Bowl matchup is going to be Chiefs and Buccaneers. Young versus old, young GOAT versus old GOAT, I guess, is how this is going to be marketed. Tom Brady, yet again, another Super Bowl, his 10th Super Bowl appearance. And then Mahomes and the Chiefs going for back-to-back Super Bowls. So basically the current GOAT quarterback of all time versus the guy that can, in Mahomes, that definitely has the potential to overtake him one day, So he's the one guy where obviously has all the talent in the world, is the most talented quarterback we've ever seen. If he just has the career close enough to Brady, then he could be recognized as possibly being the GOAT one day. So fun matchup. To me, I like the Chiefs all the way right here. Um, they're a minus three, 3 point favorite, 3.5 point favorite, I believe. And I might hop on that before it goes up, because I do think that that line, as we get closer to the Super Bowl, is gonna grow. Maybe get to like 4.5 by Super Bowl. I just I just think the Chiefs are so much better. And they've been so much better than any other team this year. But a lot of the the skeptics were pretty much pointing out how they didn't look too good at certain times during the season. They barely covered any of their lines, and to me, I chalked that up to being that they were just so much better than everybody that they kind of went through the motions. They got lazy a little bit. Um, didn't really take teams seriously, and would get behind, and then when they needed to turn it up and turn on the switch, they were able to do that. Despite having a lot of close games, they were still 14-2 this year. So they just have that ability that only really you see in NBA teams, like defending NBA championship teams like the Lakers right now. When the team knows that they're so much better than everybody else, that they can kind of turn the switch whenever they want. You see that a lot more in the NBA. You never really see that in the NFL. I think it's a lot harder in the NFL to do that, but they have that same type of ability where they can, if they need to score a touchdown whenever they want, they pretty much can. It's crazy, and if they're down, 2 scores, they can just flip the switch and have a quarter where they score like 4 touchdowns in one quarter, and that's just so rare to see in the NFL, and only like you really only see that out of NBA teams, really. So they took care of the Bills like there was nothing. A lot of people were saying how the Bills had a chance and Josh Allen is better than Mahomes this year, and just kind of it's crazy. It's crazy to think about that. That was really the talk, and I hopped all over that Chiefs this past week. They were only like a 3 point favorite, and I was all over that. I expected them to like basically roll over the Bills like it was nothing, and that's what they did. So on the other hand, I didn't think the Bucks were gonna beat the Packers. So I lost money there. Won money with the Chiefs, but lost money with the Packers, and the Bucks. Yeah, it was. A lot of people are blaming the refs again, saying, and I get it. I'm tired of Tom Brady too, and he does get a lot of calls, and a lot of things always go his way, but I can't blame that game on that last play, that holding play, for that pass interference play, because the Packers had their chance, man. Tom Brady threw 3 straight interceptions, 3 straight possessions, and all the Packers could get was 6 points out of those 3 turnovers, and they had their opportunities. Aaron Rodgers had his opportunities. He just couldn't get it done. Brady was trying to hand the game back to the Packers with those 3 picks, and Rodgers couldn't take advantage of that. So the Bucks defense really stepped up in those situations, and again that last drive too, when they kicked the field goal, that didn't make sense. The Packers kicking the field goal you still needed a touchdown either way. So I don't know why they would kick a field goal in that situation. Doesn't make sense still. You needed to score a touchdown no matter what. Even with a field goal, you still need to score a touchdown. And there's no guarantee you're going to get the ball back. And but they had their opportunities. That's why I can't blame that pass interference. They had 3 straight turnovers, and they could have taken advantage of those. Rodgers on that 3rd down play before they kicked that field goal looked like he had a a lane at the end zone where you could have ran it, maybe got closer to the goal line. If not, if you didn't score, at least got closer to the goal line where they can go for it on fourth down and feel more comfortable being maybe 2 or 3 yards away instead of 10 yards away. So disappointing because I really wanted to see Packers Chiefs. I thought that would have been the most fun matchup, but we still got a good one. Looking forward to it. I just think the Chiefs' offense is too overpowering, and I don't see how the Bucks can keep them under like 30 points. I think Brady needs to, the Bucks have to keep up offensively, and Chiefs defense is a little underrated. And I think they'll get enough stops to hold them off. So I think it'll be a little bit closer than the Bills and Chiefs game was, but I definitely see the Chiefs covering and winning back-to-back Super Bowls. So just my thoughts so far. They might change going into the Super Bowl. Might have to do another podcast before then, but so far I'm all on the Chiefs versus the Bucks right now. So that's the way it's looking, and it should be a fun one. Should be a very high viewership for this one. You got Brady again against the best quarterback in the game today, so it should be good. So yeah, let's move it on now to baseball, and let's get into that. All right, so in the world of MLB, there's free agency still going on. Couple big re-signings. DJ LeMahieu re-signed with the Yankees. He was a possible Dodgers rumor to go to the Dodgers as a rumor. Justin Turner is still free agent, so I think he's going to come back. It's just a matter of time now. It's just basically trying to figure out the years. Turner wants multiple years. The Dodgers are more looking at like a 2-year deal from all the reports we're getting. They'll probably settle somewhere in between, and we'll see. But I'm pretty sure he'll be back. Blue Jays have made moves. They signed George Springer to a 5-year contract, I believe. Then Michael Brantley, so they're picking up some Houston Astros. So we know how we feel about that as Dodger fans. So I'm just ready for the season to start. Hopefully, there's no hiccups with COVID, and the season can start on time. We just hope that baseball has a plan in place. Doesn't seem like they do, but I just hope there's no hiccups with the season starting. That's pretty much all I got to say about that. Also want to talk about remembering some legends with Hank Aaron passing away, the true all-time leader in home runs in baseball history. Just a remarkable player, and hearing his stories got me pretty emotional as far as like what he went through when he was chasing Babe Ruth's record, and all the letters he would get. He would get like 3,000 letters a day, just racist people wanting him dead just for simply breaking a record, a home run record as a black man. Breaking the most iconic team sports record in history of an American icon in Babe Ruth, right? So hearing all those stories and the letters he would get, the nasty letters he would get about that, just makes you think, how much he had to go through. And his passing also makes you think about that era of athletes that went through social justice, went through segregation, and a time where there's black people are getting murdered for speaking up. This is Martin Luther King. This is the 60s, and Hank Aaron passing away is one of the last few black athletes now from that era that were considered icons, and there's not many left. There's not many like him left. It made me start to think about others as well that were known for doing historical things, being bigger than the sport for what they did. He's one of them. There's Bill. It made me look up Bill Russell's age. I wanted to see how old Bill Russell was, and I think the same age. And he's another one that's one of the last few left from that era that went through hard times and fought for social justice. Kareem's a little younger, about 10 years, I think 13 years younger. I think he's 73. Willie Mays is actually older than Hank Aaron was. So it just starts to make you think of that 60s era of athletes and what they went through. And Hank Aaron was one of the most iconic ones from that era. Again, he has so many baseball records. In my opinion, he's still the home run king. He is the all-time leader in RBIs. All-time leader in total bases by over 12,000 miles over whoever's in second place. I think it's like Stan Musial or something. If you take away all his home runs, he still has 3,000 hits. So just crazy, a Gold Glover, had all the accolades and was even a better person from everything you hear. And it's inspirational to hear those stories of what he had to go through, and just being so consistent. And of course, we're still battling a lot of the issues that he went through are still going on today. But in his era, it was just, I think, multiplied more because people were really you never knew any of those letters he got in could have happened. Could have been true. This is only a few years. This is less than 10 years between Martin Luther King dying, JFK dying, getting assassinated. So getting threatening letters like that at that time is scary, especially if you're black, right? And for him to focus on playing baseball while he was getting hate mail, it just shows the mental fortitude he had. So rest in peace to a legend, one of the true icons of baseball and one of the all-time greats. So his passing was pretty tough. The good thing is he lived a long life, and was really loved and respected by everyone. Also, a couple weeks before, Tommy Lasorda also passed away, Dodger manager legend. So his stories were remarkable as well, and he basically made the Dodgers what they are today. The whole bleed blue, and I bleed Dodger blue. Like what he did for the Dodgers from a marketing standpoint is probably as big as any one sports person with an individual team. Like he's, his ties to the Dodgers spanned over 70 years. So, as a huge Dodger fan, that one was tough as well. You just try to prepare for it because he had to spend a couple weeks in the hospital before. So, and once you hear these stories and then you try to embrace, you try to get yourself ready for the passing of these legends. But when it happens, you're still not ready for it. So, that was tough. And then it was like a week after when Don Sutton passed away. One of the most underrated Dodgers of all time. Just one of the most underrated players of all time, period. A guy that has over 300 wins, and which is a model of consistency. And he's, when we think of great Dodger pitchers, we think of Kershaw first, or Sandy Koufax, or Don Drysdale. But Don Sutton is the guy that has the most wins in the franchise history. The most strikeouts in the franchise history. Has almost all the Dodgers pitching records. So very underrated, overlooked, and part of it's because he never was the best pitcher in the league. Well, Kershaw has been the best pitcher in the league. Koufax was the best pitcher in the league. So that's one of the reasons he gets overlooked. He was never quite them, right? But he was so consistent and so durable and so reliable, and that goes a long way, and that's how we got into the Hall of Fame. So RIP to a couple of legends. I just wanted to share my thoughts real quick, and then I'll get now I'll just move it on to Kobe and his 1 year anniversary of his passing. That happened a year ago today, and it's crazy. It's still so surreal. I was watching ESPN today and just watching some of the specials they made for him, and hearing like Paul Gasol talk about how he was his brother, how much he meant to him, and just how he kind of is an uncle now to his daughters, and he named his newborn daughter. He gave the middle name of his newborn daughter the same name as Gianna. He named her in honor to Gigi. So just seeing how much Kobe meant to Paul, and that was pretty heartwarming to see, and you still just feel so much for Vanessa, and she basically just saying she's living for her kids, and that's just such a strong woman, seeing what she's been through. So of course, never forgotten. This is always gonna be a day where we're gonna feel sad anytime this day comes around, every year, but we're also gonna celebrate as well, and we're always gonna pay tribute and remember just such a great player, and someone that just meant so much to everybody. A year later, we're still talking about him every day and his impact and his legacy. So again, rest in paradise, Kobe, Gianna, and along with the 7 others in the helicopter crash. It's still unreal, but we're always gonna pay tribute to Kobe and remember his legacy, as just a great all-time great player, but also an all-time great father and a girl dad, and all the stories, how much people he touched and inspired. So just had to pay tribute, share my thoughts to the Mamba. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Just stay safe out there. Feeling so